Hey, do you love a good story? Great. Then you got to check out the #Storytime podcast. Each episode brings you the craziest, creepiest, and cringiest stories from YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, and beyond.
My story is about the time that I was broken up with at the 9/11 memorial. Twice.
Look, the internet is a dumpster full of stories, and I, your host, Will McFadden, dive in headfirst, sift through the flaming trash, and bring you nothing but treasures. Listen to all 21 episodes of #Storytime now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Chief Robert Conti of the Metropolitan Police Department, and I need your help. Drug driving on DC streets is trending upwards, but together we can reverse this behavior. Driving high puts everyone at risk, so take the pledge to never drive under the influence. It's just not worth it.
Dunkin' is putting a whole new spin on pumpkin at Dunkin' with our new Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew. Smooth, bold cold brew topped with velvety pumpkin cream cold foam made with cinnamon and nutmeg spices. And there's more pumpkin for you to love, like the delicious fall classic, our Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte. Rich espresso topped with whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and cinnamon sugar. That's how we pumpkin at Dunkin'. Sip into the fall season with the $3 medium Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew or Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply. Valid on Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte only in all cold foam cold brew.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shang-Chi review. This is a big one, ladies and gentlemen. I am the deaf dealer, Trasnell, and I'm joined by the man in the blue shirt,
Kung Fu, Kirkland Patzer,
and the man in the black shirt.
I'm the actor, Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got a big episode in store. We're so lucky. This movie we should have got last year. This is our second MCU film of the year. Before we get in that, Taylor Field, where can they find us on the interwebs?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection. Geekverse.ca is our home base. Geekversecast is our Twitter, and Geekverse is our Facebook. Be sure to check us out on our Facebook because there's going to be some special stuff coming along soon. I promise you.
You couldn't even have that ready for the review to do the full big announcement. You know, this is going to be a very sought after episodes, but you're still going to hold it close to the chest.
I can't announce it because it's not even relevant to what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Oh my goodness. So, well, check that out. Check that out. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, head down to the description below. You can find everything we do, our podcast feeds, our YouTube feeds, where to find our Discord, our podcast network. We have 4 Geekverse feeds. You can find all those, but most importantly, head over to Patreon and get ad-free exclusive early episodes. There's bunch of episodes up there that you can only get there ad-free. You get stuff earlier. The next retro is happening right now. Harry Potter retro, which isn't dropping until next year, so there's tons of stuff. But most importantly, as you've seen, we're producing lots of content lately, and the more support we get on this feed, the podcast feed, and Patreon specifically, the more you support, the more content you get. And and you get lots of other benefits and perks. I guess fully announce we have a date for after 9. I'll be like Taylor, I won't fully announce it, but it's not gonna be this weekend, but it's be coming up soon. That's our Patreon call-in show, and that's the phase 2 tier. So lots of stuff there. But if you like this review or anything we do, please go to check out. We did a week full of newscasts about Marvel and DC and video games and the newest What If. We're just popping off with the reviews right now. We're dropping Marvel retrospectives. So if you like Marvel, this is the place to check out and stick around, and yeah, your support means the world. So we're gonna get in this. As always, we'll give our non-spoilers review, especially right now because I know there's some people that won't be seeing it till later in the week. Some people won't see it at all and wait till Disney Plus. So non-spoilers, we're gonna take a break, and then I'll tell you when we're in spoilers. So if you want to avoid it and come back later, the review will be sitting there nice, ready in your feed when you've seen this new MCU movie. Taylor Field, what did you think of Shang-Chi?
I to be honest, this movie is probably. I was gonna go down the list and see what superhero movies came out in this year, and because I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think this is my favorite superhero movie of this year. It's probably one of my favorite movies of this year, just in general. I loved everything about it. I loved just so much with this film. It was just amazing. I was laughing. I was like on the verge of shedding tears. I was like happy. I was scared. I felt so many emotions in this film, and it was just visually breathtaking. It did so many things right for me where it didn't even Madison made a point of saying this, where it didn't necessarily even feel like an MCU film. Like it just felt like its own thing. And I really liked that. But even then, with that element, it still had many features of the MCU sprinkled in there, but not in a way that made it feel like this is just another MCU film thrown into the mix, like a Black Widow or something like that. It felt great. It's standalone on its own, and I loved it. And I loved it. I can't wait to talk more about it. Like, that's all I can say, non-spoilers, because it's just fabulous.
To answer your question, we got the Suicide Squad, Justice League, and Black Widow this year.
Yeah, I don't think I'm easily like number one.
Have you seen Suicide Squad, Taylor?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
He had a hot take, which we won't even talk about on this episode. We'll say that after 9. We'll say that after 9, but it's a completely wrong take, which is fine. Kirkland Patzer, who has not seen the Suicide Squad, but he will for Golden Geeks. We got a few more months. So, what did you think about Shang-Chi?
Yeah, so this was an interesting one. I felt like out of everything in the MCU, I think this is the one I was going in most green, because like for the most part, like when we started the podcast, like Avengers and all that stuff was already out. Guardians was already out, so like a lot of the niche stuff, like we had already talked about. You guys had pretty much filled me in, but I really didn't know much about Shang-Chi, and I really liked the trailer. I thought like just the hand-to-hand combat, it was reminding me of like Jackie Chan movies, and like I loved those when I was younger. Rush Hour, Shanghai Nights, like all that stuff. Like I really loved it, and I thought the fight choreography looked phenomenal in the trailers, and it's also just the next phase of the MCU, so like that's another big reason to just get really, really excited for it. So I didn't have like any real expectations for it. I was just going into it pretty much blind. Pretty hyped though, honestly. Just like the build up to it, especially like Travis, you mentioned it had been delayed like pretty much every movie that's been out these days. But I was really excited to see it, and I was not disappointed at all. I really, really had a fun time watching this one. Again, like the fight choreography, I felt like pretty much was the highlight of the movie for me. And that's not saying like the other stuff, like the story stuff, wasn't up to par. It was just the fighting choreography. I think it's like the best fighting in the entire MCU. Honestly, it just looked so like technical and like it's like a performance. Yeah, no, exactly that. And it just, they're creative with it. The venues that they were fighting at, like it looked so good to me visually, and I really like the soundtrack in the fight scenes. And all in all, it was just a really fun time. I thought it did a pretty good job at. I think it could have done a better job, like origin, especially when it gets in like the Ten Ring stuff, which we'll get into in spoilers. But I still think it was a good introduction of the character. But the peak of it for me was definitely just the fun combat. Like it just made, like, I felt like it was scratching like a Mortal Kombat itch, even though I got that movie this year. It's like, oh yeah, like I really like this type of genre, you know. So it was awesome, and it's got me really excited going forward, the MCU stuff. Last MCU movie that was out was Black Widow, and I love that movie, but like it's a prequel, you know, like it's not setting us off for the next phase, and I am just so excited for what's to come. Like, oh my gosh. As soon as that Marvel banner came up, like, you know, I've seen it so many times. Like, I still just got chills. I'm like, this is so exciting. Like, I can't believe I'm back in the theater here. And it's like moving forward in the phases. So I'll leave it there. I'm excited to dive into some specific plot stuff. But all in all, I really, really like the movie. I really like the main guy. I forget the actor's name, but I really, really like him, and I'm excited to see more of him. So,
So, Shang-Chi. So, this is what now the third Marvel movie since Avengers Endgame. And obviously, that's like the highest of the highs I think MCU is ever going to get, right? So, I've always said everything we get from here on out is just cherry on top. You could end at Endgame and I'd be fine with it. Luckily, we've had the TV shows. I'm not going to compare the TV shows, but so we had Spider-Man Far From Home, which I liked enough, but the more I've watched it, it kind of, I feel every time I watch it, drops in my MCU rankings. So clearly not the strongest. I had Black Widow, which I think, like I said before, it's like a bottom 3, bottom 4 MCU movie. So lately I've been all about the shows in the movie and not the movies. And I was not worried, but I was like, okay, they're having like a little bit of a dry spell with me. But this is a character that I've read zero comics other than, okay, he appeared in something cool. But I've never picked up I still have not picked up a Shang-Chi comic book. And the trailers definitely sold me. So I was getting excited. There's a lot of hype going in. And I can say that I had a great time with this movie. Now, is it in the upper echelon of MCU movies for me? No. I think there's like, you got the God tier, you have the A tier, and then you have that tier, which would be, I guess just B, like right below it. I think it's somewhere in that. I don't think it's like one of the best MCU movies. I think it's because people obviously for lots of reasons, but I think it's a fair comparison compared to Black Panther, where it's like, yes, diverse cast, diverse lead, newer character, and these new worlds we've never seen. I think it's just missing like one extra gear just to get us to that like Black Panther level. I think it's tons of fun and the fights are really fun and there's a good villain involved, but I think there's just something missing. We'll talk about that. And I think with Kirkland, when he mentioned something about the 10 rings, I feel like that has to do with even some other characters where it's like, if I got just like a little bit more, I could have maybe got there, And I also think the issues that they deal with like Black Panther, and I'm just saying this because like I said, it's been kind of compared from what I've seen people that have seen it, that to me the issues and the real world stakes meant a lot more than this, where this is very comic booky. There's some personal stakes, but it gets more of a world ending sort of deal, where Black Panther, you have that, but at its core it's about racism and it's about this journey and moving forward and past mistakes. Where this is, you've seen the preview, there's a fucking huge dragon in it, we're gonna have some fun. But the good thing is I had lots of fun. I really like the cast. I think the biggest thing is that I'm happy about that I really like Simu Lee, because if we're gonna see him in a bunch more stuff, that's the main thing. Where with Captain America, the First Avenger, when I saw that, I liked Chris Evans enough, but I wasn't like, that's my Cap. By the time we got to Winter Soldier, it's like, okay, and then he really grew into the character. I'm not saying Simu Lee is like, he's the best addition of the MCU yet, but it's just like, he's somebody already I want to see more of in the future, and they did a good job. I do find it interesting. It's kind of tough where I find the villain's story a bit more intriguing than his story. I think he has a good setup, but then Shang-Chi kind of, not trails away, but it doesn't take as main stage, but fights are really good. Like I said, the only other thing that really stuck out as like a 60-40 for me positive is this movie has some really rough green screen / CGI. It has some of those Thor, like, look at this is beautiful. There's so much moments where characters are fighting on a stage and it just does not look good, and there's times where it's just like trees or water, where it's like this water, like, I get it because MCU produces so much, but that is the struggle of it. When you have a movie like, to me, Lord of the Rings, that all the CGI looks better than the majority of this. There's some big set pieces in here where the CGI looks great, it looks like today's standards, but then there's some where it's just like this, and it took me out of it. And it's definitely more near the finale where there's just characters fighting on, of course, like landscapes that don't exist in our world, so it's going to be CGI, but it's just do something. So I think it actually stuck out a lot for me in this movie because it happens a lot, but cast is really good. Humor for me worked for the most part. So yeah, like I said, I think it's kind of that B tier. I think it does actually have the possibility of going up. I think it ended stronger than it began for me, because I think the first hour is lots of action and it's a good setup, but I was like, okay, nothing's really pulling me. But I think in the middle you learn a lot more about the characters. I did really like the finale, and I liked the world building we have, because it kind of gave us a whole new, when we talk about Blade and supernatural stuff, I feel like it did this. We're not supernatural, but it gave us a different side of the MCU and the world we're in now, and it's just broadening it. So yeah, I think if you're an MCU fan, you'll enjoy it. If you're a comic book fan, I feel like you'll enjoy it enough, but maybe there'll be some things you don't like. If you don't like the classic Marvel humor, it's in there. And I think there's some spots where it doesn't work and it's just okay, where we need a joke right here and stuff. And I actually think the way when you were talking about Taylor with Mass, and I actually think some of the stuff that's put in here for the MCU world actually kind of hurts the movie a little bit. Not all of it, but just something like, we didn't need that. It was fine to stand on its own. So I liked it a lot, but not, I'm not like screaming, being like, this was the best. But like I said, it's nice to have a Marvel movie that I really, really enjoyed, where Spider-Man Far From Home and Black Widow were not that. And I don't know if Eternals is going to be that either for me, because that's still a movie that I watch and I just go, I don't know. We'll see. That's very mixed bag for me. So anything else we want to say non-spoilers before we get into the point of no return? Going once, going twice, sold to the death dealer. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not seen the movie, you just want to hear overall thoughts and recommendations, you have them now. So we're going to take an ad break, and then after that, no warning, we're getting to spoilers, and there's going to be, I think, some really good talking points of stuff that happens with the movie, and man, we got some really fun end credit scenes to talk about. So we will be right back.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
Is it time for a new heating and cooling system? Turn to the experts at Griffith Energy Services and Carrier today and get 0% financing for 18 months on a new heating and cooling system. Get the comfort you deserve from Griffith Energy Services and Carrier. Visit griffitenergyservices.com today for this and other exclusive offers. That's griffitenergyservices.com. License number MDHVACR 01-2278.
Griffith Energy Services. Doggone dependable.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
And we're back. I got some nice Coca-Cola lime. Got some popcorn and whatnot.
Interesting choice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you've never had the Coca-Cola lime?
So gross.
No, it's good. You
I'm
guys
not
know
a Coca-Cola guy.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm a lime guy, so that's where it comes in. Man, it is. It's so good. But yeah,
I like your juice thing.
What?
You were like last time we casted, and you were like just like
steroids,
garbage from all your sugar.
The way you
and now
say
you're
that.
back on it.
Yeah, no, I did for except for today. Today I had some noodles, and then I had that. So today was definitely a cheat day. But no, got some popcorn, got some pop. Gwen saw her first live action / MCU movie tonight. So because Emma wasn't feeling the greatest, and it's like, oh, you want to go? And she's like, kind of like, yeah. And that was a fun. I watched the last Duel trailer with my daughter right beside me. That Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Adam Driver one. I was like, this is a weird choice for Shang-Chi, but I got more to after 9. But that, even then, just for seeing that with her, it's like, oh, this is her first time when like the Marvel Studios thing came up. She's all like, she like, because of What If, she like gasped and like looked at me. So it was really fun, and she sat through most of it. In the middle, when they're doing lots of exposition, she literally looked at me and said, I'm ready to go home, Dad. But then once we got to like dragons fight and whatnot, she was back in it. But when they were talking about like how they lost his mother and all this stuff, she was like, yeah, this, I don't give a shit about this.
She probably thought you were taking her to the Paw Patrol movie. You probably tricked her, didn't you?
No, she still wants to see it in theaters. So, but where do we want to start with this? We got the gloves off. We can go anywhere we want. Does anyone have? Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do the whole 10 Rings thing with his father, who we don't get a name for him, but like, what's his name?
Well, his actor's name's Tony Leon. You know, he's
he had many names. It was like the old, like the evil con.
He had many names. Yeah, the deadliest man on earth. That's my favorite one.
I'm still just gonna call him. I'm just gonna call him the Mandarin effectively, because I feel like he's still.
No, he can't. He dissed that name because he's like, America was afraid of an orange.
I don't care. He's a shitty father. I'm not gonna give him respect.
Call him a shitty father.
He's a shitty father. I'm not gonna give him the respect. He's the Mandarin, motherfucker. But no, I go ahead, Kirkland. What do you want to? You started.
This entire movie, I was waiting for that moment of being like, this is why he lives forever. And I never got that. And like by the end of it, I just kind of equated it to being the rings that's keeping him alive. But like, this is the MCU. I felt like they should dumb it down for everyone. And like, I felt like it was necessary to have at least someone be like, why was he just living forever? He gave his real name when he asked. What was his real name, Fanboy Clay?
Yeah, can you pronounce that, Fanboy Clay? Yeah, he did give his like Chinese like spiritual name or something, like family name, I think it was. But
I didn't have subtitles, so I didn't remember what it was.
Yeah, and no, and like the Ryan's kept him. Yeah, to me, I think like it's just that's magic, right? It's MCU magic. Plus, like we'll talk about at the end of this, but I feel like, and also stay tuned because I have a little post-credit thing too I want to say, but like I also feel that we're going to learn more about the rings. Like I feel like they did not like bait us, but it did feel like when it's like the Legend of the 10 Rings, it's not really the Legend of the 10 Rings. It's the legend of this guy who has the 10 rings, but it didn't feel like, it felt like the 10 rings were just kind of reduced to, oh, it's a power set, you know, like especially at the end of the movie when Shang-Chi has it, it's like, oh, so because it's so funny when they were pitching this, like he's the master of martial arts and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I get it. It's great. Like diversity, new character, new world. But I was always like, how is he going to be in the Avengers if he's just throwing fists, you know? And it's like, he's like, sure, he's doing that, but by the end of it's like he's not just throwing fists, he owns the fucking 10 rings. So it's like, and another end credit thing, I'll wait till we get there, of like, yeah, I knew they were gonna do this. I got a hashtag Travis told you so from the moment Endgame happened, so I'm excited to cash in on that. But yeah, I think we'll learn more because I think they are insinuating it, but I do agree that I thought we were gonna get like maybe a history lesson on them, or especially because in the comic books there's lots of like they're technically alien tech, you know. So but again, the end credit classic MCU is sending some stuff up, but I think I agree with you. I could have used a little more on that.
Well, yeah, like the end credit thing I felt was leading into the movie The Legend of the 10 Rings, you know, where like I felt like maybe there should have been more emphasis on that. And like that being said, like I did like the movie because I really liked like the father storyline, and I liked the dynamic with him, and I thought they did a good job with like the flashbacks, like just throughout the movie. I liked how there wasn't too many at one point, like they're evenly spread out. But I think I was expecting more with the 10 Rings, and I was just waiting for it. And like even when we were getting to like the climax of the movie, I was still like, okay, there's got to be something, right? And then when there wasn't, kind of left me a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. It's just, you know, it was noticeable. And like I said, with his age, like I kind of just assumed it was the rings, but it just felt weird that they don't really like talk about it too much. It's just, oh, my dad, he's been around forever, and That's just what he is. Took the rings off, but he didn't really age much. He's still just who he was. So I don't know. I felt like there should have been more emphasis personally.
Well, even the whole organization, I feel like it's just kind of there. You know, like I feel like the Legend of the Ten Ring, that's a strange subtitle, but it's just like, okay, that markets the movie, whatever. But it's just, they get introduced, but then they just become lackeys. And I think we also have the problem of, like I said, I hated that Black Widow did this, but when they're like, we have the widows and we're going to be striking from wherever. And then when this movie opened up with like, we've toppled governments, it's like, fuck, like we have Hydra that's toppled governments. We had the widows that toppled governments. And now we have the 10 rings. And it's just like, and I get it. That's what happens in Marvel Cinematic Universe. But literally when you have the Black Widow on this back to back, it's like, it makes them feel less special when you just had another organization like, we were behind these secret hits. It's just like, it's just stop doing that. Like really, like I find a better way, but I liked the 10 rings overall. I think their base of operations felt very small and soundstagey. Like in the end credits when they're zooming out on his daughter, like running it, it's just like, this doesn't feel that mass. Like it feels like some of the Disney Plus stuff when we're like, oh, they don't really have a budget for this, do they, in this scene? And that's where it was like they kept showing Shang-Chi train in the same yard, like with the houses and everything. It's like, don't we have any other locations? But overall, here's the thing. If it got me a well-developed villain, which I think we got with Tony Leung and whatever you want to call him, the Mandarin, I would take that and still have the 10 rings be a little basic instead of him being basic and the organization being big, because the organization seems like it's sticking around. You have time to flesh out and do things in this world that's like a cinematic TV show, right? Where this character, whatever, like I'm just calling him Mandarin, I don't fucking care. He's essentially gone, I would assume, at the end of this movie. It looked like they killed him off. So I think if we're going to spend more time with the father and son, the father and daughter, which I want a lot more, the father and mother dynamic, and then just his story and his origins of like how he met the mom, I would prefer that. And I liked all that. I've not seen Tony Leung in a lot. He's just like a Chinese, like legendary actor. If you've seen The Departed, of course you've seen him in Eternal Affairs, which was like the original version was Eternal Affairs, and then Martin Scorsese remade that. So as a film geek, you've probably seen that before, and I think he is fantastic. Again, much like the movie, I don't think he gets to that Thanos, Loki, Killmonger level. I think he's right below it, but and even then, like same thing like Michael Keaton's Vulture, but he's still like, if there is a tippy top group of villains, I think he's right at the bottom, but that's pretty good because we have a lot of shit MCU villains, right? So I think he did a really good job acting wise. All his scenes, like the flashbacks, I think the best thing about him, it looked like he carried a weight to him and not just like a presence as far as like danger. It's just like, it seems like you could see like the differences of the scenes he played when he was married with his children to when after, and it just felt like such a shift in how he portrayed the character. And like I said, it felt like he had this weight of just, he's not been the same since this has happened. I thought he did a great job. I agree, Kirkland, and it's not just because it's like a similar genre, but the flashbacks remind me a lot of like Ghost of Tsushima, the way they would kind of splice them in, where it wasn't all at once, it was like inspired by something, and I liked that. So I really liked everything they did with him for the most part. Like I'm trying to think, I feel like the ending is a little cheesy with the, he hears her and he's going to break down this wall no matter what, and I'll get to that later, but I think he's a good antagonist, because I don't think he's a full-on villain, because again, even when he meets his children again and they kind of, essentially kidnap him, but they have dinner there, it feels like he has a real love for them, right? But then it kind of goes back and forth when they're in his way. It's like, well, I do love you, but I got to do this for all of us. So I think and it also helps that this guy's a really good actor. I think he brought a lot more to the role that maybe wasn't there in the writing. So I think he did a really good job. Taylor, what do you think about whatever you want to call him, the most dangerous man alive and the 10 rings, and essentially what this happened in the movie?
Before Taylor goes, It was Infernal Affairs, not Internal Affairs.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was Infernal Affairs. Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to call him... I believe it's pronounced Zoo.
Nice try. He tried to be all cool because he looked at the name. Yeah, and then he fucked it up. And you're Chinese too. I'm going to call him... Oh, what is it? You have to put on the... Yeah, call him that, Taylor. Call him that.
Looked up the phonetic way to...
Yeah, let's look it up. Yeah, come on.
Hey, I did look it up, but I'm not saying I'm an expert at Chinese names. I'm the last person.
You're the only one that's Chinese here, so...
Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean I can speak it. I can't speak German either.
Wow. 10 rings and most dangerous man.
Thank you, Clay. See, look at that. Clay Clay has my back here.
I hope
He's
on
got the
purpose
back here.
he's like giving you wrong pronunciation, and then he's just gonna fuck you the whole stream. Like what? Oh, what was that stream? You got someone's name wrong the entire time, and you were getting called on the comments for it the whole time. It was one of your zombie reviews, wasn't it? And everyone's like, "No, it was this country. It was this country."
Oh, yeah, that happened. Aldridge Kensington. It happens. There's always an Aldridge Kensington. Alex Kensington. Yeah, though. We're talking about the Mandarin?
You
Winwoo,
can't call him that. Yeah, Mandarin and the 10 Rings.
I mean, as far as he goes, I think he was absolutely fantastic as a villain. I really liked his motives. I like that he was just... it wasn't that he was trying to free this entity to destroy the world. It wasn't that he was trying to even take over the world. He did at one point, but those ambitions changed when he fell in love, and it was because of that love that it drove him to this insane point of his life where he feels guilt, he feels anger, and all these different mixed emotions, and it led to this where he's just being manipulated. And I like that because you have this greater evil, which I'd be lying if I said it, but I'm gonna say it. When they're the soul eaters, I'm thinking, holy shit, is this Mephisto? And it was a brief moment that it went through my mind, but it's you know what, sue me. They they look like demons. They look like that, and I can't help it. It's just Feige's put Mephisto Easter eggs everywhere. But anyway,
Did you think those demons looked good?
To be honest, you were talking about the CGI being iffy, but I was just totally into it.
I agree with Taylor. I agree with Taylor here because
really?
I think what helped it a lot too is because when we were in help me out here, what was the world that they're in, Tai
Lao or something like that? Yeah,
something like that.
So that I felt like it was just a very fantasy-esque place. So there was a lot you mentioned the trees. I definitely agree. I think that was maybe in my opinion the most CGI looking stuff when we were dealing with a lot of the trees, but it was some sort of hue that gave it some sort of fantasy fuzz. That's definitely not the proper terminology.
I want fantasy fuzz all over the screen.
And I think it just helped me to not focus in on too much of it, because I know everything I'm seeing is CGI here, but it just, again, maybe it was just the bad CGI that was the fantasy fuzz, or maybe I'm headcanon it as fantasy fuzz.
No, I agree. I think sometimes that happens in movies where I go, I can make it work in my mind. It looks like this because of this. And I was trying to the most part. The ones that bugged me the most is when he's trying to break down the gate and they're fighting on that rocky substance. That looked like shit. They did not look like they were just on a fucking room with a bunch of green stuff. And that's most Marvel things. But for me, it looked exactly like look at this. Isn't this beautiful? Because it just the depth perception sometimes did not look like they're on this gravelly thing. It was just and that's what I mean. It's a problem of it's so tough, right? Because I go, well, like I said, this thing clearly doesn't exist, so how do we do this? But again, I've seen Lord of the Rings where those didn't exist, and these look so great. And that's one I think I will say why I'm excited for Eternals, because Chloe Zhao shot a lot physically, and that makes me excited because I do think Marvel, I think sometimes people get way too overblown about the CGI they use, but I think sometimes they just go a little too ham. Sometimes it reminds me of Peter Jackson, The Hobbit, where he's just look what I figured out, we can CGI this, but even there's that one moment where he punches Shang-Chi into the water, and that water animation, oof, it was not the greatest.
I'm still so opposite, because even that whole scene when he was punching the dragon scale gate, everything like that, I just felt kind of what you said, Kirkland, there was just so much of this kind of coloring and the spectrum that they tapped into that was overlaying, just their moves, the rings popping off, and the aesthetic of everything. I just feel it blended so well, as opposed to just take this in moment where it's literally just a plastered CGI without any kind of coloration over it.
Oh, are you kidding me? You're saying the rocky substance had no coloration? Oh, I can't wait to contract
to me, what
this
I'm explaining
movie.
though is when you CGI something that's supposed to be real and not fantasy, is something that we can identify and relate to. That
water.
Definitely didn't look. But what they CGI'd it, it's just, as you said, Kirkland, this whole fantasy world that is make believe. So my mind could interpret this as just the way the coloring just works, the way the water explodes, but it's because Fing Fang Boom just has this beautiful crescent blue coloring.
No, and to be clear, I'm not talking about the magic water part. I'm talking about when it's just like, look at him go in this water, you know, like. And
but even then, like, maybe it's just like my mind didn't have enough time to react to it because I just saw like the explosion from the rings and he goes in the water, and it's probably like a more minor thing that I wasn't really focused on because I'm just. Again, the coloring from the rings in that moment is just like sending him, because you get that slow-mo scene of him pushing in and you see like the hue and the amber color from his chest as the rings impact Shang-Chi's chest. And then it just like leads up with another hit that sends him flying. It's just such a crazy moment. And then it ended with 2 seconds in the water.
Yeah, and that's all good and dandy. Yeah, and the reason I asked about those little creatures, because I thought the big creature looked fantastic. Like the big like monster, the alien or the dragon thought, that's where I felt, okay, this is like current day CGI. And when they have that full, like there's water around them fighting, and then they're just like going at it, and the rings go in the stomach, that looked fantastic.
Looks
yeah,
so good.
and that's why I guess it sometimes just annoys me when it's like you see this great CGI in the exact same movie, and then just like I said, even to me, the little creatures, they looked very like 2000. No, I won't say that. Maybe that's an insult, but they just don't look like that big thing. Like, you know, it sucks when you have this big thing that looks realistic and it looks like it's in the world, but then these things like spouting off of it don't look like that. It looks like those fucking dogs in Tomorrow War, Taylor, like those things. And it was like, oh, this looks like you know, game cutscene, like something from World of Warcraft where it looks good for a video game, you know, but
they look like the Grindylows to me, the little mermaid people from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's what they reminded me of.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'm like just touching upon the CGI stuff. I do agree with you a bit, Travis, specifically like that the demon door fight scene, because I thought the door looked fantastic.
I
agree. Did like the creatures. And I think there was a couple moments when they were like talking that it definitely looked green screeny. But another thing that I think helps me personally to like not care so much or not focus in on like the CGI is the fact that there's just so much fighting going on.
Yeah.
And on the big screen, you know, like it's pretty blurry when like so much stuff's going on. So I don't really have time to focus in on that. That might change when we do like a commentary track on it. We're on a smaller screen, but I think because like the fight scenes were so like intense and there was so much stuff going on, I was just focusing mostly on the characters, not like what's behind them. So that probably helped me a lot.
Yeah,
when
and
it came to the CGI.
And that's good. Even the times that did bother me, the stuff that was going on really was good. The only last thing I'd shove from the final battle that I didn't like as well too, anytime they shot Shang-Chi and his sister on the dragon, did not look good whenever they were holding on. It just looked like the dragon up close did not look great. So it's just like whenever they're up close, like it was the combo of the dragon doesn't look great, and then when they're behind them, they just look so unnatural on this screen and stuff like that.
I think you guys had poor screen quality. When that dragon came in and dropped him off on the lake at the end after the battle,
are you kidding me? That's the exact shot where I'm like, this dragon does not look good.
I thought it was the Mandarin. He's like, can you believe that they actually got a dragon?
Yeah. Like this has nothing on Smaug from Hobbit. You know, like, that's what I mean. Like this looks like Child's Plaything compared to that. So
no, I would take this dragon over Smaug.
Oh fuck! Oh yeah, right. That's no, you're completely blinded. There's no way. Just wait till you watch again. Put it side by side. Everybody, the GV Discord, listen to this. He's saying that this dragon, this movie looks better than the Smaug dragon. All right. Continue on Mandarin and the Ten Rings.
I don't think I have any really much else to add. I just think I thought he's fascinating. I didn't need to understand really like the history of like why he lived forever. I didn't really need to know like the technology of the rings and stuff. After it kind of went through like his conquests and stuff like that, and then it kind of progressed further with him just having the rings. Like some say he stole them from a tomb or found them in a crater or something like that. I just rolled with it. I didn't need the explanation. I was just digging it. And as soon as he starts doing his flips and his moves, I was like, oh, I'm leaving all that.
Yeah. No,
my questions are gone.
It looked so good. All of his fighting with the rings and stuff. And just touching upon the same character, the 10 ring holder. Something that kind of worried me at the beginning of the movie was, okay, this guy's been around for thousands of years. He's literally like just leading this terrorist group and like a big deal, basically. I was really worried that it's just going to get like Shang-Chi is trained and then kicks his ass and then takes the rings and then like that's how he dies or something. I'm like, I am so sick and tired of like getting a villain that's been around for thousands of years, and as soon as our protagonist meets him, they just like dismantle him like really easily. So I was very relieved when it wasn't like Shang-Chi that actually like he did defeat him.
He beat him. He beat him 100%.
Like I was a lot more content that it was the main Soul Stealer thing that like finished him, you know, as opposed to, because he's done a lot of bad things in his days. He's been around for thousands of years. I wouldn't have liked it if they're just like, oh yeah, let's be a family now and we'll just we'll just forget everything that happened. So I figured there was going to be an end to his story. I'm really glad it wasn't our protagonist that did it, even though he did defeat him. But I don't know. I really don't like when we get introduced to a character that's been around for thousands of years that like has never been defeated, and then all of a sudden you meet him and he just gets dismantled. So I thought his power level was good. Was good. I like that it took some tallow some tallow magic to take him down. So
I feel like you're like, I don't know if you were hinting around this or you just forgot. It just sounded like you were describing Darkseid in the Snyder Cut when we just meet him and he just gets fucked up by all those people and he's just like literally dying on the side and stuff like that.
It was unintentional.
Yeah. So let's talk about the main guy. Let's talk about Shang-Chi. So one thing I was surprised, and this is the fun of trailer editing, but I liked it a little bit less, is I remember the first trailer when the Mandarin was like, I've given you 10 years to live your life. Now you're back. I thought that was an actual deal, but no, it wasn't. It was just literally like, oh, like for 10 years you were out there. So I liked that approach a little bit less. But when we meet him, he is living in San Francisco, right? That's where they were living? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were living in San Francisco. He's friends with, someone can get her name, I forgot, but he's living with Aquafina. Or he's not living with her,
Katie.
but he's pretty much just, thank you, Katie. He's pretty much just palling around with her. They work together. They work at a hotel, and they're, what is that?
Valet drivers.
I think I'm forgetting every single fucking word. This is what is this again? What's the comic? No, Marvel. Anyway, so he's just running a down out life, right? They're doing karaoke, they're going to bars all the time, drinking everything like that. Again, I think that his charisma carries the character for the first half, because not that it's bad, but there's just not much about him. He's just doing a lot of fights and everything like that. So one, they got the train down. Like I think we can all say that all the fights and action were great in this movie, so that's good. But then also he has a presence. I'm not saying he's fucking Will Smith or something, but he has a presence where it's like, I want to watch this guy. I think he's interesting. I like his comedic chops. He seems charming as well. I liked that they hinted at like a romance, but they didn't go full jump into it, very much like Iron Man 1 where Pepper and him don't kiss. So it's just kind of alluded to. We can get to that later, but I think he did a great job. I think all his emotional stuff was really good. I think maybe his best scene is maybe when he's talking to Katie about like his dad and how they kind of split up and how he was sent and he told him he didn't kill that guy, but he did kill that guy, right? Because the only reason I'm asking is because like I missed like a snippet of that because I was dealing with a young one for a second. But like he did he actually say he confirmed that kill the guy? Because last
he basically said that when I was telling you that I couldn't go through with it, I lied.
Okay,
that's what he said.
Okay, so I didn't miss much there. Okay, good. I thought he actually was like, yeah, and I killed him. I took his head. I decapitated. Right in front of his family. I said, look at what I did. But no, I think that was his best scene, and that's actually again much like the rest of the MCU so far. My favorites, because I like the first hour a lot, but the first hour is pretty much just like it's Shang-Chi going to different destinations and fighting people, which is fun, but there's not much character there. Luckily, the action's great, but I like that middle portion where we get we go back to like it's a family reunion. We get some time with the Mandarin, like the flashbacks, his story, and then we get time with Shang-Chi. We get time with the sister. That's the stuff just like the MCU with Wanda, with Loki, with Falcon. All those like small, quieter moments. I like that the most, and that actually got me more invested for the finale. If that stuff in the middle didn't happen, especially I like that he did kill that dude, you know, because it just shows like some regret, and also it kind of is fun because he killed that dude. He was seconds away from killing Death Dealer until his dad stopped him. Like he had that knife ready to go, and he even said that tomorrow I'm going to kill my dad. He made me a killer. I'm going to do it. He had, like Kirkman was talking about, he had the opportunity to kill his dad, but he threw down the ring. So you can see the progression of, I'm not saying I need this guy to be fucking Batman and have a no kill rule, but I like that he killed the guy. He regretted it. That was probably some of the reason of why he left as well, because he realized he's not his father. He was close to killing someone, and then when he had the chance to kill someone, that even though it's his father, he didn't take it. So there was some good progression there, even though, like I said, I feel like like the Mandarin had the more interesting story with his wife, with his children, with the 10 rings. I feel there's much more meat there, but I like Shang-Chi's like little mini arc here. We already talked about action-wise was great, and I think he carried the role fantastically. I know we're going to talk more about end credits, but I'm very excited to see him mix up with other characters. I think he is definitely Avengers bound, as again we will talk about, but again, even if the movie would have been a lesser tier, I was like, okay, at least we got this guy who's a good lead. So whether he's in crossovers or if a director swap or a writer swap for a sequel, something like that, I go, okay, he can at least carry a good performance at anytime he'll be on screen. I go, okay, I'm excited to see him again, you know? So Taylor, what were your thoughts on Simu Liu as Shang-Chi?
I absolutely loved him. Like I there's not much that I can say aside from I just think he fit into the role superbly. He delivered the whole scene in Ta Lo when Katie approached him and he was just by the water, and he just I just thought, okay, he's just very depressed because of what's coming, and just he's opening up and trying to identify himself, the self of him that he was suppressing for so many years. But then it was just the sense like, no, he's sitting here because he realizes that, he needs to kill his dad. And I'm just thinking like, holy shit. Like, it's just, you can see this weighing on him. Like, that I couldn't
a decision
imagine. Like,
I hope I never have to get to at some point.
No. Like, it's so sad because, yeah, he held his mom who was dead in his arms. And then you have, like, what kind of a child has to come to the realization, like, I have to kill my father? That's horrible. I mean, even Luke Skywalker chose not to kill his father. He just chose to defend himself, right? So, but Shang-Chi just went in thinking like, I'm going to kill you. And a part of me honestly believes the sister thinks he murdered the father. I don't know. I doubt they actually had that conversation. I feel like,
no,
because she saw the body. Yeah, she saw the body and saw that he had the rings, and she just kind of like nodded her head. I feel like she probably suspects that maybe he just killed her or killed him. Because what else does she have to go off if she didn't see what really happened to him?
The big fucking thing that came out of the wall, like, could have easily sucked his soul. I don't think so. I didn't think there was any tension they tried to play there. And it's just one conversation. Hey, did you kill Dad? No, the big monster. Okay, that makes sense. And then moving on. Like, I didn't get that sense at all that she might be feeling like, oh, he took his life. Like, that monster was kind of sitting there for quite a while, you know?
And like, even if that was the case, I felt like her relationship with her dad was so bad that it would have been like, I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you killed that fucker. It's not a healthy father-daughter relationship. That's
no.
For sure.
We'll talk about that for sure. What did you think about Simu Liu, Kirkland?
Yeah, no, like I said in the non-spoilers, I thought he's just such a good lead for the role. He's handsome man. Looked great with no shirt on. I thought he had the charisma to carry as Sean, and then also like when he turned on like the Shang-Chi on that first bus scene. I really, because like I said, like I don't know anything about him and like his origins, so I didn't even know that he had like the abilities at that time. I wasn't sure if he got it like from the rings or something, but when he just like turns it on the bus there, I was like, oh, okay, this is real. Like I kind of like, got to the front of my the edge of my seat when in that moment,
got to the front of my seat, sitting the other way. I just want to listen to the scene. Just listen to it.
But yeah, no, I thought he looked really good in all the action scenes, and I think there's more potential for his character than what we got in this, because you guys were shouting out that scene with Katie like along the water there, and I do agree. I think that is probably like the most emotional like character moment for him in the movie,
because I think a lot of the back half of the movie, it is small. I think that's the unfortunate. A lot of the back half of the movie, it's just him and his sister reacting to exposition, and there's not much time for them to get like big acting scenes or moments. I think you get maybe a little bit more too when he is fighting his dad of like, you want me to be this, like here I am. But that's where I feel like, and especially like maybe we'll talk about her next, but I feel like the sister really got put on the back burner in the second half of this movie. I was really excited. I was liking her, and then sometimes in that final fight, it just feels like she disappears. It felt like, I almost feel like I know this movie is about Shang-Chi and whatnot, but there's part of me that wanted her to be around for that final conflict with her dad too, because I don't know. I felt there could have been more, but I think that's the thing where I hope, even though that the dad's not around, we can get these moments in a sequel or whatnot. Because that's my only concern is they'll be like, well, people really love the action, so let's just do more of that. And now that there's no dad, there's not like a huge emotional tie for Shang-Chi. I know there's an end credit scene, which we'll talk about, but even then, how they handled that character before, I was a little peeved about. So
I agree with you. I think the daughter should have been there at that door scene, because you can make the argument that it's Shang-Chi's movie, you know, like he's the protagonist and everything, but he gets that superhero moment when he's murdering the main soul stealer, right? Like that was an epic shot, and that was just him, you know, like going, like, you know, everyone's kind of doing their part, but like he just popped off there and made it explode. So I think it would have been a lot better for just everything, honestly, to have her involved in that conflict, because it wasn't just like Shang-Chi against his dad. It was a full family affair, right? Like the mother involved in everything. Like it was a big just mixture of the people that were pissed off at each other, and I really liked it. And like you said, like I really liked when we first were getting involved with the sister and she was kind of running her own gang and all that stuff. Like I really liked all that stuff, and I was hopeful for more of it. And you know, I don't think we've missed our window of opportunity for her, because especially with that scene that we get at the end. And yeah, I don't know. You asked me about the main character, but I'm kind of going in on the sister now, so I guess maybe we could just transition into that.
That's fine. Yeah, no, let's take our second ad break right here, and then we'll talk about her, because I think it's a fine transition. So we will be right back.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
When you get Xfinity Internet, Flex is included free. And finding what to watch on TV is now as easy as popcorn. Show me my favorites. Yes, live soccer. This is how easy it is to find my favorite content, all in one place. And for Xfinity Internet customers, it all starts at free with Xfinity Flex. This is a way better way to watch.
Learn how to get a great offer on Xfinity Internet. Plus, add a free Flex 4K streaming box. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
It's been 20 years since 9/11, and with our busy lives and a relentless 24-hour news cycle, we're in danger of letting 9/11 fade away from our cultural memory. We won't let this happen. Iron Light Labs presents the 20 for 20 podcast, 20 heroic stories about 9/11 for the 20th anniversary. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also find us at 20for20podcast.com.
And
that was more than fine.
But it was more than fine. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So before I throw it to Taylor, so like I'm with you. I liked that the setup as far as her at the club, because it's a fun way of like she doesn't want to be her dad, but she's doing exactly what her dad is doing, and like that's a classic kind of scorned daughter. So like I liked that, and even then I liked her story as far as like he wouldn't let me train, so I watched the boys do it and I did it better, and I loved like and this is what I like, that they'd shown these flashbacks before she told you that. So then in retrospect, when you see her training at night, you go, oh, that's why she's training at night alone, because they wouldn't let her train. And you can infer that, but I like that she like you get that told to you, but like 45 minutes like later. It's not just right after. It's not her saying that, then it's a scene of it doing that like we talked about before. The flashbacks are really well placed. So I like the setup. I like that there's tension between her and her brother, because I like the ideas. One, why with Shang-Chi is like they didn't walk back any flaws, was like he did kill that guy, and then he did also leave his sister. It doesn't matter what reason he did, he just flat out left her there to kind of rot, and she had to get on her own. I like that they didn't walk that back. I like that he didn't do some sort of I tried to save you but I was stopped. No, he just left, and that's like something that character has to deal with, and I hope they get to deal with it more. I just think that they had a lot of meat on the bone with her and Shang-Chi, and especially her and her father, and it felt like they just, like I said, they packed it up and put in the freezer and like, oh, we can get to it later. And I think that's some of the bad stuff with the MCU, right? Where it's like, we can get to it later, but I think with this movie, especially with the dad maybe not ever coming back, it feels like the most important now. And I feel like especially they do this great setup of, my dad wouldn't even look at me because he said I remind him too much of mom. And I just was waiting for her to get that one last scene with the Mandarin too, like her kind of come to Jesus, even if it wasn't the fight, just a conversation or something. Even at the dinner table, I was expecting, because he does look at her and there's like a small exchange, but I was waiting for, again, like I feel like every time, like again, it's Shang-Chi's movie, but they'd be all in the same scene together and it would just be about those two. And I was like, okay, where's her part coming up? And it never did. They just skip over that. And especially they set it up like lots of things as far as the issues she had. Like I said, he wouldn't even look at her. So I was just waiting for just a longer conversation or some sort of scene between the two. And then, like I said, at the end, she just felt like another soldier. She didn't feel like she like, yeah, she's his sister, but it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like she was that vital to the story, especially with, to me, again, it's not like she had this great life and she can't relate to Shang-Chi. It's, no, I have just as worse experience as you do, and I've had a really rocky relationship. And I almost wish that, not wish, because I do like the character, but maybe it was just better served if she did leave in the middle of the movie and she came back to help fight later on, because then you go like, oh, this is why we have less character development. But she was with us the entire time in the movie once we meet her. But for me, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like she's just kind of there, and she has like cool action scenes. Again, everyone has cool action scenes. That weapon's cool, but I won't even say a little bit more, like a lot more from the writing standpoint. I think she did a great job. I love the introduction of her in the Fight Club and she kicks his ass and everything like that. Like that's great. So I obviously there's going to be more. We'll talk about post credit, but I think for this movie they underserved her a little bit, which sucks. So,
well, I feel like, if I kind of want to be devil's advocate here, is like, since she said that he couldn't even look at me because I remind him of like my mother, like, wouldn't that make sense why he doesn't even interact with her? But that's
why I want her to force the issue. I want her to just get in his face and be like, look at me, you motherfucker, like you ruined my life, like, or whatever the conversation would be. I just wanted that moment where she, like the same moment when Harry Potter in the Goblet of Fire, when Dumbledore won't look at him the whole movie and he ignores him. I wanted that moment from her of just just acknowledge me, like for once in your life. And I thought the movie to me was setting us up for that moment, and it just didn't happen. It was just like, no, it's all about Shang-Chi and the dad, which again, I get it. He's the key character, but that stuff makes me like her more. So when we get that end credit scene, I would have been like way more jazzed. When we did get it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like her. So we'll see more. But Taylor, where are you on the sister?
I thought she was awesome. Like when her introduction, everything. Again, it kind of went over my head, her having any pivotal scenes with the father. I just took it as I legit took it as like she had that sentimental moment when he was discussing about their mother, but then I just saw that she didn't care. She was just going through this with Shang-Chi and just didn't give two shits about the father. Again, I got that same sense, even how she disclosed how she felt about her brother. Like, she doesn't need his help. She doesn't need anyone's help. She's done this all on her own since she was 16, and she doesn't give a shit about her father. And she's looking for the next best thing to jump into and to run. And again, she saw her opportunity, which we'll get into that end credit scene later. But I just think that I thought she was great, and I liked how she kind of came around. And I liked her banter with Katie as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think
like
she
your
was
pants.
awesome. Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see where they continue with her character later on. I honestly, for a split couple minutes, I'll say, thought that when she was being pulled away by the main soul sucker, that when Shang-Chi had his 5 rings wrapped around their wrists holding each other, I thought he was going to give her those rings and let her use them, and he would have the other 5, and it would like split 5 and 5, which I thought would have been very, very cool.
I agree. That would have been cool.
But that did not happen, which is fine. I can live with it.
I did like the moment where she told him to let her go, or she told Shang-Chi to let her go, and she's like, I'm not going to do that to you again. So I like that. Yeah. So I think with the brother-sister dynamic, they nailed. I just wish with the father one, they did a little bit. And again, if he was still alive, I probably wouldn't be so hung up on it. But the fact that he might, I know it's MCU, but I mean, like, he might not come back to life. I wish there was I just even wonder, like, if there's a deleted scene somewhere or something, just a little bit more with those two. But who knows? Maybe he just gets resurrected in the sequel, and there, there we go. This is a magical world, right? So
there were so many moments where I thought many of these characters actually were going to die. Like, I really thought she was actually going to die when they were holding.
I thought there was a chance. Yeah.
I thought the dragon was actually going to die. I thought Kitty was going to die on the bamboo shoots of the skyscraper. There were many scenes that
wow,
tricked me.
Awkwafina dies half an hour in the movie. That would have been bold.
That would have, like, holy shit.
Everyone, that I would love to see that movie though, because and people are gonna maybe hate that I say this because it's an MCU movie. I don't think they'd have the balls. But imagine it with, and I know they've done the stat, but just imagine if legitimately in this movie Awkwafina died half an hour in, his sister dies in the last act, and then his dad dies, and at the end of this movie, just like everyone around him has died. I would love that. Maybe when we get Frank Castle, maybe that's when we'll get the everyone dies moment. But Awkwafina just drops, just a splat on the ground.
I don't like. I again, after seeing this movie, I wouldn't put it past them how easily they're willing to kill someone off. And I say this because Death Dealer was one of my highlights of this movie, and he got like boom snapped. I was actually crushed.
What a letdown.
Yeah, I will say, and this is not just to be about like Ralph Boner again and stuff like that, but like they didn't Ralph Boner me, but with Taskmaster, and then with Death Dealer,
I Taskmastered. I would compare this to Taskmaster.
I wouldn't put it on that level.
No, hang
for
on.
The look.
Yeah, what I'm saying is lately Marvel, whenever I have this is really cool, they kick me in the nuts and like, yeah, you like that, didn't you? Well, it's gone. And it's just like,
I'm kicked like Shang-Chi did by his sister.
100%. And the fact that we kept fucking Razor Fist over Death Dealer, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is where, again, Kevin Feige, he's a genius. He's made the MCU. I'm not going to doubt him, but just like on paper, when you're looking at the two, just even for fucking toys and merchandise, okay, we're going to kill one of the main bad guys to send our message across. Death Dealer or Razor Fist, the guy who just sounds like Taser Fist, and he's boring in this movie. Let's keep Razor Fist. We need our one white guy in the cast, so let's make sure we keep him. Death Dealer was so cool, and they use him in marketing so much, and especially like much like the sister and the dad, I hated that they had this whole backstory of Shang-Chi and him training him, and they only had that one fight, and that was it. Like, they felt like they were setting up for so much history, and like I thought it was going to be a big moment when Shang-Chi like finally like viciously beats him with an inch of his life, and like, I could have killed you, but I didn't, like, whatever it is, like definitively beats him. I guess you could say that he had that with the knife, but still, I just thought that was so quick. So again, it's just on paper, it's just like that's just such an easy choice. So Taskmaster, we could argue and go, okay, they changed her for the plot, they want her to be this. Okay, I think it's still really poorly done, but I can see it there. I don't know how, like I said, if you're looking at Razor Fist and Death Dealer, you choose Death Dealer as the one that's going to get sacrificed. And man, yeah, that was a kick in the nuts. For a finale I was enjoying other than some of the CGI, I was like, fuck, are you kidding me? This is Taskmaster, this is Ralph. Because Ralph Boner was that big. It was the fact that the kick in the nuts was that his name was Ralph Boner. And I was like, oh, you got me. And the same thing with Taskmaster. It's like, this, I hate that Death Dealer is gone. He's just gone. And it's just like, he could have been like a Boba Fett for this series. Like, he had a cool look and he was just badass. Like, those little daggers that were bombs, but no.
They're badass.
Gone.
Yeah,
gone.
I was very much disappointed. And like that moment that you shouted out, like when they did have their fight, and then like Shang-Chi was literally gonna kill him.
Yes.
Like that's what that moment was so intense. And then his dad just like stopped the conflict, which was cool. You know, like that was a good, like, oh, okay, yeah, no, the big dad's here.
Yeah, we're gonna get more later on.
Yeah, and like going forward, I feel like whenever I see a cool villain, because I remember even like going into Black Widow, I think when we did like our predictions or something, I'm very hesitant to like think Taskmaster is going to be a big thing, because they introduce these badass characters that look really cool. Like that's the running trend. Like this guy, Death Eater, he looked really cool, and I like we just talked about, like I loved all the flashbacks to him, like just whipping him, like, you know, trying to make him like the perfect warrior. I didn't think he was gonna die the way he did, so when it happened, I was like, "Oh yeah, I have no faith in cool-looking villains now." And not like main villains, but just like like main lackeys.
And at one point, I saw like another guy when they were fighting with the similar like hair piece, and I was like, "Oh, he's alive! Awesome!" Then he turned around, it wasn't Death Dealer. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, no, we should make a list, because I even feel like, not that he's the same way, but it feels like in Black Panther with Claw, like, oh, we really like Andy Serkis's Claw, and then Killmonger just fucking shoots him, and it's just like, I get that we gotta lose some villains, but like, it's comic books. Like, let's not lose. So like Death Dealer, I feel like could have eased, like, this is the thing we'll talk about in post-credit scene. I imagine, like, okay, fuck it, we'll just talk about the one post-credit scene right here. We got her taking over the 10 rings, right? I like that concept. I liked her enough in it. Again, I want more, but I liked her enough in it to be like, okay, cool. To me, them saying the 10 rings will return, I don't think we're getting a movie. I don't think the 10 Rings was that popular to get a spin-off movie. So to me, this reads as whenever we get D Plus Day or Disney Investors Day, I guarantee you, I mean, I won't guarantee, I'm not going to try to tell you so, but I feel pretty confident that you're getting a 10 Rings show on Disney Plus. I just feel like it just feels like the fact that they literally said will return, they're putting a statement. And how cool would it have been to have a character like Death Dealer popping around? But no, who do we have? Razor Fist. And guess what?
I think they'd save it for like, Avengers would be bold, but let's say a crossover event or something significant, and that's what they're referring to. Like all of a sudden, like Shang-Chi jumps in, and then you have his sister and the 10 Ring troops show up to help or something like that.
I think to me, it's kind of like what me and Kirkland talked about. I don't think they spend enough time with the 10 Rings to get them to that level. Like, if they wanted to be the next Hydra, I don't think they achieve that. I think Hydra has that name where the fans and people see that, oh, Hydra, they're this evil organization. 10 Rings, it's so murky because it's like she's not a bad person, but now she's running this like pure criminal organization. So it's like, I like the idea of her sticking around having power, but it did kind of feel like a circle and a square peg. Like, okay, why is she doing this? Because this is why I also think it'll be a TV show. I think she's going to make it more, not good, but it's not, they're not going to be killing innocent people now. Like, I feel like she's going to be trying to make them a organization for good or in the middle or something. So that's why I think it'll be a D plus show. I really do. And you can use some of these characters. And again, as just practicality, Death Dealer, he was all practical. Okay, maybe his dagger. So you got him versus Razor Fist, who every time he's gonna be an action scene, you're gonna have to CGI this knife on him. Like, it just literally makes zero sense. Razor Fist, you can get a new actor every time if there's an asshole act. Like, I don't know. It was a strange call. And but my long short is, just like I said, Death Dealer, if he would have been, if they announce a 10 Ring show and it's the sister, and then Death Dealer is like a supporting like heavy for her just to do shit, man, that'd be hype. I would love to see like an episode of, like, the same way Black Noir Taylor is in The Boys, the way they use him. Imagine if they could use Death Dealer like that. Like, he's just this quiet guy that comes in and just fucks shit up. And now we got Razor Fist. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. I think it's for sure going to be a D plus show. Getting to Death Dealer,
the Death
Yeah, you know, you brought up a good point, how there's so much potential to, even if he's not a part of like the main movie MCU, just have a cool character like that in this D plus show. Like, that would be such a cool thing. Now, when we're bringing up Razor Fist and him, out of those two, I believe a lot more that Razor Fist would be the one that like becomes like the lackey to Shang-Chi's sister, just because Death Dealer, he seemed just a cold-blooded, like like I felt like he was
he's loyal to Mandarin, and that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was finding which name to use, but yeah, the Mandarin. I think he was like the most loyal to him. So like maybe if his daughter comes in, like, no, I don't answer to you. And also when Razor Fist is like, yeah, we should work together. I can't really see Death Dealer saying or doing that.
Yeah.
One, because he didn't say a single word, so I can't picture him saying it. But I think it makes more sense Razor Fist being like the new lackey. Now that doesn't help because I didn't really like Razor Fist. I was kind of hoping his character would be done after the bus scene. I thought he was a cool goon, but like when he was really sticking around and like they carjacked his car and all that stuff, I'm like, oh, okay. He's like this funny goon.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Then maybe I would have loved if Death Dealer was just like he started to work for someone else and he was opposed against her, you know? And like, and at the end of the day,
to work with Preval or something like that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I get it. Death Dealer, he just has the Darth Maul effect. Why do I like him? Because he looks cool. I get it, but it's just
is badass.
Yeah, but it's just like Razor Fist is a stranger. It's like, yeah, that whole joke about the car, I was not into that. How he like spray painted Razor Fist. It was just, I guess, yeah, that's the problem. Like, I loved the concept of Death Dealer and I didn't like Razor Fist at all. So it's just like when you're looking at the two factors, it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I get, yeah, you're right about them turning as far as, oh, we got to help them out. But it's just, yeah, I think there's ways you could write yourself out of there. But
yeah. Yeah, like even if he just survives and then he goes off in the distance, does like a snow vision, right? Like, like if we don't see him for memories. A while, we know that he's alive and that he can come back. And then when he does appear, it's like, oh, like I haven't heard this guy say a single word, but I would still be hyped because he's just a really, like you just said, the Darth Maul effect. Like,
yeah,
I have a soft spot for cool looking antagonists or villains. So.
Maybe we'll get a Shang-Chi animated prequel and we'll get like 5 seasons worth of Death Dealer and he'll have this whole personality and whatnot. But yeah, Taylor, I heard you were in a similar, I don't know, as passionate as me, but you were pained by Death Dealer's death.
Yeah, I mean it was sudden and I do think it was unfortunate, but I'm definitely okay. I put him way over, like, what was his name, Blade Fist or whatever.
Razor Fist.
Razor Fist. Yeah, I put him above that character for sure, and I do wish that he would be able to come back because I loved so much of just everything that he was doing, the fight scene, everything like that, and Shang-Chi almost did kill him. Like, it was just crazy. He was about to stab him, and he was having PTSD flashbacks of him being whipped by him as he's punching in the post, like just crazy stuff. And I just think it would have been super cool to have him in and fighting more, but it is what it is. And again, it's not enough to make me think like this movie fucking sucks. Like, I still think it's a fantastic movie, and we got him fighting and everything, which is great. I loved it. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, Razor Fist, we'll see what he's capable of. You know, the next Portal scene, he'll be walking out there leading the charge. So
all I can hope is we get him in What If now. That's all I can hope is that somehow these characters can return. I really hope we get him. So what if Death Eater got the 10 rings or Death Dealer got the 10 rings? Give me that one. But yeah, what did we think about Awkwafina in this one? I'm somebody that like I like Awkwafina enough, but sometimes like her humor hits or misses for me. But honestly, any misses in this movie for humor was not her. It was just writing. Everything she brought, I really, really liked. I think the bow and arrow routine gimmick was a little forced there at the end. I didn't buy that. Yeah, I just think it was a little much for me. In one night, she's just fucking throwing out like Hawkeye shots and everything like that. I don't
Kate
think
Bishop, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think. I wish there was actually a different way they could have used her in the finale. But as a character, her humor hit almost all the time. Like I said, it was sometimes just situational stuff where it's like, look at this car, and that's a Razor. It's like, okay, that didn't play. But her, and then as a character, I like that she was kind of our guide as far as she didn't know who Shang-Chi was and how's the whole life. And I like the scene on the bus when she's just like, they set up that she's been protecting him their whole life. So when he does start kicking ass, it's like, who are you? Like, it's a good kind of like Jason Bourne moment. And I like that setup of the bus too. And the guy just walks, just like, give me that pendant, you're not going to get hurt. And he's like, you don't want to do this. And the score in that scene was bumping in the bus scene. That's when I first noticed, like, dude. Oh yeah, really good stuff. So, but yeah, her overall, I really liked. I think a sequel will be good for that character. Like I said, I'm happy they didn't go down the love route yet because there's a lot to tackle this movie. But for the second one, I'm down for them to start shacking up and, you know, actually starting some sort of relationship or something.
Pumping out some little cheese.
Some little cheese.
What
yes.
was that expression?
Some little cheese. The shung cheese, little cheese.
Okay, fair enough. You're not wrong.
I'll save us all and start progressing this. Awkwafina, I do like her. Everything I've seen her in, I've liked majority of her humor, so that helps. And like a lot of her humor bits, I'm like, okay, this is like the exact same thing from different movies. But like I just said, like I liked her, so I feel like maybe 80% of her humor hit for me. There's a couple of moments when I'm like, oh yeah, it's just her classic Awkwafina line right there, and didn't really do it for me. But overall, I really liked her as the side character. And you said you're like, like see them shack up. I was pretty happy actually that they didn't like force like a, oh, I'm so in love with you now, we're in Talo, and like this just has that loving effect. Like I was glad that the movie ended and they were just buddies. I'm not saying I'll be opposed if the relationship progresses in the future, but I really like that it was just they started as friends and they ended as friends, and that's
this
how
isn't
it
like
ended.
Loki and Sylvie for me, where every episode I was like, okay, they need a bow, and I was just like, okay, we'll get there. I like where we are right now. We're at this, friends maybe more stage, because
the sexual tension isn't Loki Sylvie.
Yeah, with his sister going back to their home country, his dad, and then these fucking huge creatures, it would have felt like it's very much like an Aquaman, which I love Aquaman, but right before Mira goes, she's like, and wait, and they just kiss in the middle of this battle going on. It's like, okay, we had to get this in. I guess here we go. We're just kissing while all these people are dying again. But so I like that they didn't do it. So Taylor, how'd Awkwafina go for you? How'd Katie go for you?
I absolutely loved her in this movie. I think she was great. I felt like her humor was, to me, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was different from other films, and what really sold me on her was her seriousness. There were many scenes where she was just being compassionate and down to earth and serious, and it wasn't always sugarcoated with her being humorous like she is in her other films. And I really like that, because it was a great opportunity to see another side of this actress just kind of like delivering these very sentimental roles with, again, Shang-Chi, which I really, really enjoyed. I love the dynamic that they had together. I think they bounced off each other very, very well. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm so happy that she is on the continuing forward with him wherever they go. I think that's perfect. And yeah, she was fun. I like the archery thing. I like that they started training her over those few days that she was in Talo for. I thought it was funny. I like the older lady kicking her in the butt. And again, I think this whole journey that she went on, I like that it kind of helped push her in the direction where she's trying to figure out more to her life, what she can amount to. I think that's very, very good, because it's just a good message. There's many people in our generation that we don't know where we're going. No, I'm serious.
Oh God,
like,
here he goes.
There's many people in our generation that just like we're just kind of like wandering and we're not
There's
sure.
just as many people this generation as the same generation that didn't know. They're the same people that are just fucking still jobless, watching a football game and just backseat quarterbacking and stuff like that. Don't give me this generation shit.
Well, I'm not saying
You're gonna
specifically just our generation, but I'm saying like it is great on our generation and the next generation. But I just think it's one of those things that I'm glad that they tackled it, because I haven't seen that tackled in any other MCU stuff. It's usually very, very different things that they dive into. But in this case, it's just like, don't waste your time. Like just, I don't know how to word this properly. The messaging that they were trying to portray, I enjoy that they were trying to preach in the sense that, not throwing it at you and like throwing you into like the bush, in the sense like, it's hard to explain. It's hard. You guys are laughing at me.
I know,
because you paint yourself in a corner.
I was staring at Travis and he made me go. So it's not your fault, Taylor. We're assholes.
Next thing, Taylor on Facebook's gonna share one of those images of people on the phone with their buses and be like, "Imagine if none of them had their phones, eh?" That's what Taylor's gonna share next.
No, I'm not saying like that. Not at all. But
read his newspaper.
I liked how they were basically portraying this scene. I heard like a scream. Kirkland, what's going on over there? Someone breaking your house?
I'm sorry, Shay's watching How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah.
Razor fist coming through your door.
I think you're just trying to say that you like that they are losers and they weren't like, you meet Tony Stark, he's like a billionaire. You meet Thor, he's a god.
Not that they're losers.
Well, they
Not
are
at
though,
all.
not losers, but they're not living this high, huge life like all the other characters we've met are agents,
Well, not
space
even
people.
that, 'cause,
like
like,
the only
I-
close
I-
is Peter Parker, and he's super young.
Go ahead, Kirkland.
Okay. So I can agree with Taylor to a point because they're like the one line that she dropped to the lady when they're going bow training, fucking archery training was
Wrestle this boar.
She's like, yeah, I just kind of do a bunch of things for a little bit and then I just lose interest and I just don't really focus. I'm like, damn, she's speaking to me. I feel like that's something similar I do. So like I do understand where you're coming from. Like she's a well-educated lady. It sounded like she's done like, you know, some schooling, some post-secondary, but like she's just kind of doing her valet. She's just doing what she wants, and I'm like, I can kind of agree with that to a certain extent. So I do agree to a certain extent.
And I'm not trying to say
With
just
you,
before
Taylor.
Taylor clears it all or turns it on me. I'm not trying to say if you're a valet, you're a loser. I'm just saying like they're just doing the same thing over and over again. They're running on the spot. Like they're both getting like, when you gonna get married? When you getting a real job? Like they're going out nights, getting plastered, sing karaoke, and that's great. But eventually, like I guess you could do that forever. But I think eventually, for most people, there is something more in life. Whether that's a job, like they like their job to an extent, but they both don't necessarily think that's their end goal, right? So that's what I meant as far as if they want to just be at the valet, sure. Even Awkwafina, who says like, oh yeah, this is the job I like. As we learn later on in the film, it seems like there's still some inner turmoil, like a little bit as far as like, yeah, like I like Kirk was saying, I'm good at a bunch of stuff, but then I drop it, so I don't know what I'm doing. So that's what I meant by the sense of they're losers as far as they're just kind of just coasting. You know, they're coasters.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. They just don't know, and now he's going to become an Avenger. So.
And like when you think about like basically, I mean, you take those two characters and they're both working as valets, definitely like overqualified for what they're doing. And I the more that we talk about it, I kind of think that's an interesting dynamic because like Shang-Chi, he, you know, working as a valet, even though he's like a trained assassin, obviously he's not doing his full potential. By the end of the movie, he's literally like Shang-Chi in the 10 Rings. I think he's starting to fulfill like some of his potential, and I hope that we get a moment like that with Katie. Now again, she's a side character, but I still, because she brought those things up in this movie, I hope it's not just left to her being just like a buddy of Shang-Chi. I want her to fill a role where she's actually utilizing her skills, and I'm not saying I want like the Katie show or like Disney Plus or something like that where she goes in, but I hope in the next like Shang-Chi movie, like let's say Shang-Chi 2, like she gets just more of a feeling of her potential, because I think it's a cool thing that they brought up, and it would be a missed or maybe just a loss of potential if they just don't do anything with that character and she just dies at the end of the day, a valet and Shang-Chi's buddy.
Yeah,
and there's more for her.
I feel like with her kind of going around with him in different areas was kind of the symbolizing of, okay, she's going to be around him. You know, like it's not just, oh, well, what, because they're telling the whole story and they're like a little unit and stuff like that. So, yeah.
One other thing that Taylor brought up that I'm really glad he brought up on was like Awkwafina's like more like serious moments and like being just someone that can like really like just help Shang-Chi going through those emotional moments and just being like a friend to talk to, because I've only seen her in a handful of things, and I think that was the most serious she's been, and it shows her levels of an actress, and I really liked her in it. She's a type of actress I feel like she can't just like fit into any movie or anything, but it is nice to see some range from her, and I was impressed in those moments.
If you're looking for range, go watch The Farewell. That's her doing almost completely drama. Really good movie, and I don't want to spoil the plot, but it's lots of subtitles, but still it's worth a watch if you want to see her doing something dramatic. Really good. And yeah, well, let's take another ad break, and then I think we'll fire off on some just kind of random topics. So we'll be right back.
When you get Xfinity Internet, Flex is included free, and finding what to watch on TV is now as easy as popcorn. This is a way better way to watch.
Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to get a great offer on internet and add Flex for free. Restrictions apply.
Dunkin' is putting a whole new spin on pumpkin at Dunkin' with our new Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew. Smooth, bold cold brew topped with velvety pumpkin cream cold foam made with cinnamon and nutmeg spices. And there's more pumpkin for you to love, like the delicious fall classic, our Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte. Rich espresso topped with whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and cinnamon sugar. That's how we pumpkin at Dunkin'. Sip into the fall season with the $3 medium Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew or Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply. Valid on Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte only in all cold foam cold brew.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
When you get Xfinity Internet, Flex is included free. And finding what to watch on TV is now as easy as popcorn. Show me my favorites. Yes, live soccer. This is how easy it is to find my favorite content, all in one place. And for Xfinity Internet customers, it all starts at free with Xfinity Flex. This is a way better way to watch.
Learn how to get a great offer on Xfinity Internet. Plus, add a free Flex 4K streaming box. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
So, random topic I want to start on because I want Taylor's opinion on this. Now, I think you'd probably seen something in a teaser based on our predictions, but it's so funny. S. Bubs was talking about how, I wouldn't expect too much Abomination. I was like, well, at least if I get like a 2-minute scene, I'd be pretty happy. And man, we did not get that. So here's the thing.
I count 15 seconds.
Yeah, and this was another kick in the nuts moment. This is where the first half I was like, not I wasn't enjoying the movie, but like, yeah, it's just not getting up to even the higher B tier. But then it did. I wish they didn't show that in the trailer, actually. I think that would have been so much more hype now. Because for me, I thought, they're going to show in the trailer, and then at least the fight scene's going to go a little bit longer. And then at least, like I said, even if it's a 2-minute fight scene for fun, and then they do that knockout gag, cool, it's over. But the fact that it was, like Taylor said, like maybe 15, 20 seconds, and we saw, maybe half of that in the trailer, to me, that was a mistake. I think that's the problem that MCU does that sometimes, where it's like, we have a lesser known character, so, let's put Ronan the Accuser in Captain Marvel. And what's the point of Ronan the Accuser in that movie? Nothing. He's a waste of fucking space. He is. You could edit him out of that movie. It's completely the same movie. So I think that's where this is like, not that actually you could just edit him out. It's the same movie, but I think they should have saved that for the theaters. I really do, because I think that would have been so much more hype, where I feel like a little tricked, to be honest, as far as like, I wasn't expecting, like when Espo was like, you don't think he's going to be in it lots. So he's like, no, but just more than that, it was just a nothing. And I guess they're doing some, I don't know, weird thing where it looks like Abomination is throwing fights on purpose, and they're like, are they like cutting the purse together? Like, that's how I took it, because he's like, you got to watch those punches next time. So I took it as way that like he is losing on purpose so him and Wong can like get this money.
I didn't get that at all.
I didn't take that.
Really?
I took it as like they were like UFC fighters, and like, they fight. But then at the end of the day, I mean, maybe UFC is not a good example, but like just like a professional fighting organization where like behind scenes, they all work together. Yeah. Beat the shit out of each other. But
I just thought it was strange that he portaled them back to somewhere.
That's what I was interested about, because I'm like, where did they go? Like, is there just like Wong's crib in New York or something? He's now in Avengers Tower. I don't know, like, because it seemed like there was some sort of like container in the back, which seemed like almost, I know it's not it, but it almost reminded me of like when Loki was being held in Avengers, like just like a sort of when the movie comes out on Disney Plus or something, I'll be able to like freeze frame it and really discern what's back there. Or I could probably watch a YouTube video of someone explaining.
I was wondering if it's like the raft or something too. We've talked about that before, right? So
right.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It just felt a little odd. I could be wrong with the throwing stuff. It's just like the way, because it ended so quickly, and then he made that comment like, you got to watch your punches, and then he booted him away. And because even then, still, like, it's fun for him to be there, but I guess we don't need it, but I still want an explanation of why Wong's there. Like, it still just does not, like, kind of
doesn't explain. It doesn't make sense.
It just never has made sense to me that Wong was going to be a cage fighter. For me, in some reason, if it was during the snap, I guess I would have bought it. But for me, I was looking for just even a line to be like, why is he here? But no, he just likes to go and fight, which again, just doesn't mesh with the character. I know it's not a big deal. It's not going to be points off the movie. It was just kind of like, did we just put this in like for cameos sake of cameos? And that's what it feels like, which is kind of good, but you guys know how I feel about that. Like, I hate in Rogue One we got the fucking like, oh, you made my friend real angry guy just randomly. And not that I hate this, but it's just like, again, then I wish we just saved it for the movie and not the trailer.
100%. I agree with you. I think you should have been held for the movie review because, like, even in the trailer, it's not like someone's like, that's Abomination, and then it's like, okay, who is this? You pull up your like the GA. I don't think they would really know who that is because Incredible Hulk came out so long ago. But like, if it happened in the movie, it's like, oh, who is this, right? Like, just getting back to the portal and you bringing up like the raft, I feel like it isn't the raft because why would Wong be like taking him back and forth?
Why is Wong taking him back and forth at all is what I want to know. Even if he's not in the raft, you know,
that's another good question. But like, let's just hypothetically say that is the raft. I think that's kind of fun because that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the end of Abomination's story, right? Like, he could be going to the raft and then maybe Thunderbolt Ross is kind of recruit. I mean, that was kind of what you guys were.
Remember, he's in She-Hulk
predicting. Abomination?
Yeah, everyone keeps forgetting he's in She-Hulk. Legitimately, yeah, he's like confirmed. It's not even a rumor. He's confirmed. Okay. Tim Roth is coming back for She-Hulk. Okay. So yeah.
So then disregard everything I just said for the last 20 seconds. What was the other thing you guys were talking about? Like, I don't know.
We're talking about him throwing the fight. We're talking about Wong fighting. We're talking about Abomination. It being the trailer.
Yeah, just I agree with you. I think it should have been in the movie. It was funny though because like when he punched through the portal and knocked himself out, I was like, oh, okay, that's it. Like, oh no, Taylor and Travis are gonna be pissed. But also like when they did like the locker room scene, like right before they go through the portal, and I don't remember Abomination having these like little like fin things.
He's evolved. Yeah.
He's evolved? Okay.
He looks like that in the comic
maybe
books.
That's not... Oh, okay. I'm like, maybe that isn't like the Abomination because I don't remember him looking like that. Maybe that'll give an explanation why he got killed off so
kind of
fast,
like how we all thought the dragon was Fing Fang Foom, and I really don't think that's Fing Fang Foom.
No, really don't think so. Yeah. I was like
he
talking
can
to someone
talk,
at work about it. I'm like, are you excited you get to see Fing Fang Foom tonight?
You had to see the Abomination have a big old fight with Wong. Yeah. Tay, how do you feel? Because you mentioned it a little bit, but you're such an Abomination fan. Like, did that rub you wrong way at all? Like, we didn't get anything more? No. How really?
I was just happy to see it. I really was just happy to see it. And
you saw it in the trailer.
Yeah, you saw
I
it
in the trailer, but then I got to see like some more footage and just like some fun moments between him and Wong, and I got to see it on the big screen. Like I'm the kind of guy when I go into a movie, I don't need a lot to just kind of like.
I don't need story, guys.
I get my Darth Vader hallway scene. I get my Darth Maul cameo. I get my little 10-second, 15 seconds of footage, and I go ecstatic, hands on top of my head. And when
that was 10, 15 seconds, I feel bad for Madison. You know, if that's what it takes.
10, 15 hours. No, it was just absolutely. It was just absolutely awesome just to see Abomination back on the big screen. It really, really was. Even though he wasn't the trailer, I was just so ecstatic to see him up there. I love what Wong pulled on him, where he just like hand goes through the portal, comes in and punches him, totally knocks himself out. I loved it, and just the crew of just humans dragging him off of the stage was just fantastic. I love Wong just kind of like giving him a little bit of like some, I can't remember, like a drink or something, just to like just giving him something just to kind of like help him out, and just wherever they were going to. I took it as it looked kind of like another boxing ring, almost like another chamber, like
setting him to another match. Poor Abomination.
Come on, we're up again. 5 minutes.
I didn't get the sense that they were throwing the fight. I took it as a sense like he was like teaching him how to fight a little bit more and just kind of like helping him out. I feel like Abomination kind of like I don't know, turned a new leaf kind of or something like that. I didn't get the sense he was evil at all in this, and I like that. I think it's kind of cool. But did you guys see the Iron Man 3 Mandarin soldier in the hallway when they were walking?
Iron Man 3 Mandarin
one of
soldier.
like the heated people, because it shows all the
the extremist people. Yeah, that's the one. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
That was cool. Yeah. It's funny because we talked about that way long ago in the trailer where we'd see anything more, and I wish they did more of that. Not needing more like character cameos like Abomination, but just like seeing the extremist thing, like maybe a more like that, like more attacks or someone to call back. But still, that was fun. I hope if we get some sort of 10 ring show that we go back to that location and we have like her having a cage fight or stuff like that. I think that idea of a tournament Mortal Kombat sort of with Marvel characters or something could be tons of fun. Like again, that's where we could have bumped into Death Dealer. Maybe after all those things, he fell out with the 10 rings. What's he doing? He's just in this club fighting every night, like fucking Death Dealer.
I thought he was the one who's gonna walk out instead of the sister. I totally thought it was gonna be Death Dealer like coming in and he lured Shang-Chi here.
No, the trailer's got that for me because I knew he was fighting a woman. I was like, okay, we must meet his sister here and everything like that.
Yeah, I forgot it was his sister. So, like when the character was coming out, I mean, we saw Abomination, we saw Wong at that point. I'm like, okay, who's gonna make an appearance here?
Kevin Feige.
Deadpool.
Yeah, Kevin Feige as Deadpool. He just takes out the mask. He's like, I've recasted.
Or Anthony Mackie. It's like, you want to be a part of the Avengers? There you go.
What?
Backflip.
Yeah, no concussion for me. We'll get to there, the end credits scene. What else do I got here?
I guess we're talking. Okay.
Go ahead. Where were you going to go? Let's see if we're going the same place.
Okay, I was gonna bring up, since we got Abomination callback, we got Mandarin.
Yep, that's where I was going.
So, okay, perfect. The fake Mandarin, we could say.
He's cleaned up now. He's no longer addicted to drugs, which is good. Trevor is on the up and up. Anytime Ben Kingsley is playing Trevor, I like it because it's just funny. I think he got that character down. I think we didn't need when the Mandarin was explaining like, oh, in America 8 years ago, there was this man who posed me. It just felt like here we're going to get some exposition for the comic book fans that really liked that storyline and were pissy about it. Oh, look, this is like, it just establishes the real Mandarin. I think like he had that conversation at the dinner table, and then when you get Trevor, it was literally saying the same thing, like back to back. So I think you didn't need that moment. Trevor was good. The only thing I did not like about Trevor was they set up, and whatever. I know it's right, you do whatever you want, but it's like, oh, there's only one time you can get to Talo and everything like that. It's this specific route and everything. And then he's like, oh no, I just have this little creature that knows how to get there at any point, at any time. What a coincidence, eh? Everyone knows how I hate coincidences, especially when they're this obvious or this like obtuse. And yeah, I really hate how they got the Talo. I like the action of the driving and take a hard right, but I wish it was just like he found a map or he knew something. But just the fact that they mention it and then the little creature's like, hey, I know, and he's like, oh, the creature knows. So I liked Trevor. I just didn't like his plot device getting there because it felt kind of lazy to me of how we got there, but not a big con, but still a con nonetheless for me. Taylor, I'm sure you're happy as that's your nickname.
Were you gonna say something, Kirkland?
I was just waiting to go. There's some dead air there.
Yeah, no one picked it up. Come on, everyone's acting like Abomination, punching themselves.
You can go ahead, Mr. Actor.
I really wasn't expecting him to just appear, and I know S Bubs is dropping that imagery and stuff, and I was like, it could be it. But like when I was in the movie and I was watching it, like it totally, the last thing I was expecting was to see Trevor pop up. And again, the last thing I was expecting to see in there, and I'd be lying if my mind didn't flash to Abomination when I heard the growls. I'm thinking, oh my god, is Abomination in here? Like, this would be super cool. But no, which is fine. It was Trevor, and I absolutely loved everything Trevor did. I thought it was hilarious. This joke that he did, it went home for me. I was dying laughing. Madison was dying laughing because we literally just binged. We did the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes. We did all the OG Planet of the Apes. Now we're doing the new trilogy one, and like it's so fresh in my mind with the apes on the horses. And when he started popping off with that, it just it hit fucking home. Oh my god, I was dying. And yeah, I just think everything he was doing was great. It was just mixed in with these serious moments, and him with this creature was just really funny. I don't know, he's just I liked him so much more. He just they took what he was in Iron Man 3 and they just gave him so much more depth, like, especially when he's like, I was gonna be executed, but I broke off into Macbeth. I was like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, and they keep me around. And he's like, oh, so you're kind of like the jester. I just loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
And now he's living in Talo, and I just feel like, Trevor, I'm glad this is a happy ending for you. I'm glad you're here, and like.
I'm glad the acting terrorist got the happy ending.
Like I saw that like when he was dead, I thought for a brief moment, like, I could buy it, but I'm like, no, he's alive. And I like whispered Madison, like, oh, he's faking. And sure enough, yeah, he gets up and he rubbed me the right way. He was just so hilarious.
Yeah, it was interesting for me because I've never really been like a big fan of that character. In Iron Man 3, like I like the performance, like but it's just a character I'm pretty much done with. I didn't really care for much of his humor in Iron Man 3, and then in this one, like, it was a cool, like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny because we have the real Mandarin now and then we have the fake Mandarin in this movie. But like most of his humor, it just didn't really stick with me, unfortunately.
Kirkland didn't like when he realized, oh man, he's coming on the whole adventure here.
Well, I agree with what you said, Travis. Like, it just seemed pretty eye rolly, like how convenient it was when they just like, oh yeah, I got this random creature that's just someone grabbed him and now he's just here and he's gonna take us back. You can only get back home one day, but we'll have a 19% chance of making it, and since our protagonist is with us, it's 100% chance of making it. And I thought the whole like you said, you liked the driving scene. I didn't really care for it, honestly. At the end of the day, it's how our hero got to Talo, so I kind of just write it off. But most of his humor just, it's not like I was like, oh fuck, okay, this guy. It was just
Kirkland was booing in the theater loudly.
Dude,
shut the fuck up.
Boo, I don't think we spent too much time with him. I think it was okay, but I definitely agree with you, Taylor. That scene when he was playing dead, that one got me. That was like, okay, that's funny. And like just his delivery of the line, it was good. And then the little fake creature thing with no face just like plays dead and lays on his back there. And it's funny too because I mean, you guys know, but like the listeners, like I just got a puppy, and like the mannerisms of that little creature just reminded me of my little Marco. So it just it was kind of funny to see. And yeah, no, that's really all I have to say on the fake Mandarin. The Mandarin Orange, we can call him. Yeah,
they were interesting characters or creatures. That one, like the bird wings and then like no face, and they made that joke like that was interesting because I kept looking at him like, okay, how are they gonna sell this stuffy? I really liked like the big kind of like dragon lines and stuff like that.
Those look so good because you see them in like ancient like Chinese tales like paintings, but to see them like they looked really, really good.
I want one.
Really good.
I want one. The things that I didn't like were like the CGI blue horses or whatever. When they're like, "Is this a horse?" Just because that's another time where I think the CG that didn't look great. It's like, okay, what are we, an Avatar here? But yeah, like again, that kind of helped with the world building. Yeah, yeah. We're not in Talau. All the Navi running around and shit like that. Hey, they got the rights. They could do it if they fucking wanted, right? So I guess like we haven't talked about her all. I like Michelle Yeoh as the auntie. She had that fun training scene. I like that we got the training scene of like that, and then earlier when the Mandarin fought like the woman that would be his wife. We'd seen the trailer where the mother did that thing where she jumps up, she like spins around in this big battlefield. Very cool settings and whatnot. And I like that she kind of, not obtusely, but to me like taught Shang-Chi like almost like the best offense is a good defense, because it's just a little bit of like he would always have the fist ups, but then like she made it open, so almost like he's ready to receive and counter blows instead of to be on the attack. And I really liked that. So I liked her.
I just touching upon that last scene when he has like his closed fist. I thought that was a really good character moment too, because like him being just in his upbringing, like you can just tell he has so much inner anger, and I felt that was a good example of like you need to not just like put that anger down below in your body, like you gotta face it, and then like that's how you kind of that's how you master yourself. That's how you know who you are. And I love that line when she said like your mother knew who she was. Like, do you? And you mentioned the train scene. I love that sequence. That was one of my favorites of the movie. I could probably see the train scene, that scene, and then I'll just tie in like mandarins fight with their mother. Like that scene was just so cool for me. Like the slow-mo shots, we got them in the trailer, but like when she's dodging, like him shooting the 10 rings and all that stuff, it kind of got a little funny when they're like flirty eyes as they're getting close. I'm like, okay, are they mating right now? This is
I went back. Yeah, we just got 10-minute hardcore, like 50 Shades, just like full dick and penetration. But like, no, like I have to watch that scene again, how I feel, because at times I was like, it's a little cheesy. Then